Hey guys, my name is Mannequin and welcome back to Mastering EDM with Logic Pro. I apologize for some of the videos that got out late or didn't actually happen this week. I had a really busy week and unfortunately there's nothing I could do about that. If you do want to get updates though, you could follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/MANAK1N and that way I'll be able to tell you guys whenever something's up and I'm not able to post a video or if it's going to be a little bit late or something like that. And also you'll get immediate notifications whenever I post a video. So that's a cool thing there, and if you want to do that, then feel free. Okay, so today we're starting a new mini-series here, and it's going to be called Building a Track, as you can see by up here. I don't know why I just blanked out on that one, but anyway. Okay, so what we have going on for this episode is I have this song here, Crushed by Cosmic Gate, and I'm going to go through and we're going to dissect the structure and build our own structure, and then from there we're going to assemble a track. I'm not going to show you all the production stuff I'm doing. I'm just going to go through the building the structure, getting the vibe, and everything like that. So, without further ado, let's get in here. I did do two things. First of all, I figured out the BPM of the song, and then I made sure it was dead on just to make things easier for us. So, I'm going to play this back, and we're going to kind of listen to the first part here, and just keep your ears peeled. I have it at a low volume so I can kind of talk over it if I need to, but actually, I'm just going to listen to this first section here, and then we'll kind of go from there. So, here we go. Okay, so probably what you notice is that right here, the fill was different from right here. Okay, screw that. The fill was, it's different at the end in the sense that something else comes in after it. If you can't tell, what you have is a clap here, and then it swaps over to a clap and a snare. So basically, we know that this is a section. So we're gonna kind of by looking at this, we can kind of tell that there are smaller sections. But right now, I want to break it down to the big sections, just so I don't spend like eons on this. So I'm gonna click this button here, and I'm going to see if I could arrange these in a more sensible manner. Okay, so squash that all up, and then expand the marker here. Then I'm going to bring this over here and add a marker. So this marker is 1,000,000 miles long, and that's just the way things work when you first do things in Logic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Events here, go to Marker, and then I'm going to change the length to something reasonable. So right now that's 1 beat, I believe, if I recall correctly. Nope, that's 1/16 note. So I'm going to make this 1 beat here, and then drop all these other ones down to 0. And then I'm just going to extend this to however long I need it. So I highlighted it with the loop here just to kind of, so we could see what's going on. But actually now I can grab this so it'll be easier. I won't need this anymore. So, and I could pull this over here. Now, I do not think you could actually color these markers in this version of Logic. Unfortunately, you could color them in previous versions of Logic, but I don't think you could do that now. So we're just going to have to deal with renaming it. So this we're going to name Intro Part 1. And where do we decide things are? So that's when the other snare, or the snare comes in there. I'm going to see if I could duplicate this. I don't think it'll work, but okay. So I have 2 now. So intro part 1 and intro part 2. Now we're going to listen for other things here. I think it's just a snare, if I recall correctly, about the way the song works. And then we're going to go and just continue listening on the track here. So I think this is just the only change between these two is that this one now is a snare. Okay, so we did actually, there was a small some of the reverb was brought up on there, but otherwise it was exactly the same. So I'm just going to duplicate this one again, because I can almost assume that it's going to be the same length throughout the entirety of the track, but we'll see. So this one's going to be, I'm just going to leave it AAA, because I don't want to spoil what we're going to be listening for here. So back to here. We're going to keep on listening here. Okay, so obviously that's the drop. But what we're going to do here is now we're going to have two parts here. This will be heavy intro. This will be build. And now what we could do here is actually we could put some notes here, I think. Leads to build. And that's going to be, it's amazing that actually lines up just like that. But okay, so intro part 2, part 1 and 2 will be, we'll just make this note here, light. And light plus 1, so that we remember that we changed something up. So basically what we're looking at here is we're going to make an intro that's light, and then we're going to make an intro that's light, and we're going to add something. Then here we're going to make the same intro heavy, but we're kind of going to make it so it feels like it's leading into something. And this is what we're leading into, where we actually get into the build that starts to go. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm actually just labeling some things. So this is the drop. That's the drop, and we just added something. If you could tell it, they had kind of like a snare in a certain spot there. I typed this wrong, which kind of screws things up, but it hints at the drop. Now, if you listen here, really thin at the top here, you hear that and then you go to this. And it's right there. So it hints at the drop. It's kind of like in the background. It's drowned out by everything, but it hints at the drop. So that's what we're going to just mark there. And then... Sweet. So like all the sections here are the exact same length, and it just kind of, that's one of the things about Electro House that makes it so easy to remember the structure to. You've got a lot of parts that are basically the same length. In pop, things can be very, very, very different, and other styles of electronic music can also change up quite a bit. But for the most part, we could just look at these 8-bar sections. You can see 1 to right before 9, which would be basically bars 1 through 8, and then you just keep on going in sections of 8. So you did hear that I put drop and build for this one, and that basically means that we've got something going on here. The do in the background. So that's our build that we're working with there. And this is obviously a downlift where things thin out and then go to the break. And then so we're just gonna have I'm gonna copy this here, and then I'm gonna kind of type it as we're listening, and you're gonna get the feel of why I'm doing this as we go on through the rest of the track. Okay, so you'll notice there that the clap came in earlier than we were expecting. So we kind of want to have this heavy break. We're going to shorten this, and then we'll do, so we'll have the heavy break here, and then we'll just say heavy brake plus something. Now, the reason I keep on saying +1 and not just add a snare is because chances are, if you're doing a different track and you're not just copying that track, you might want to add like I don't know, a hat loop or something instead of a snare. That's one of the things that's typically done. Instead of just like adding a snare, you could do like a hat loop. So anyway, let's kind of hear where it goes from here. Okay, let me pause that there really quick, and then we'll talk about kind of what I went through here. So we know that the heavy brake, we kind of just heard a melody come in. That one in the background there. And so that's what we're going to note there. We're just going to add like a melody. And so it'd be worth noting in our heavy brake here that just chord progression. And I should probably, you know what, I'm just going to stop the key casting right now because I'm not doing any shortcuts, so you guys don't really need that. So where was I? Okay, so we have the heavy brake, which we're just kind of like just chord progression, and it's really big chord progression. That's what we're going to remember. And then we're going to go heavy brake and melody. We add a melody in the back there. Brake style build. So this is like, it kind of keeps the style of the brake, but it kind of adds a snare like it's going to do a build, and it thins out. You could tell by the waveform that it kind of thins out around here, and that's because it drops the kick. So actually, it might be worth mentioning it. Drop, kick, which is kind of funny. Okay, and then we'll just make this one, I wasn't sure what to name, but I'll just name it full build. Because this one's one where we kind of focus more on building. We're going to have a build synth, like a riser, just bringing it up. And then... Okay, so now the different thing in it here is we have not just a drop, but it's an alternative drop. So what basically, if you go back to the, now that things are wonderfully labeled here, we could actually just find the drop, and here we go, drop. And then if we compare it to this one, it's a different drop. It's kind of the same note progression, but you're using a completely different synth. So we're gonna name this one alternative drop. Nothing interesting there, just adding something. Okay, so here's a weird one. What we have is it's basically, let me duplicate this so we have something to mark it with. It's basically like a mix between thin drop and chill break build. Let's see if I can do this right. Build, not build. So, because what we have is we have like a thinner break, and we have the chill break, this one, the chill break and light build. That's basically what we're doing. Okay, and then we're gonna just kind of note that it's thinner, so we don't drop into like a full break. That's just got like, you know, all the body of a regular break. So then we're gonna go over here, and then we know that this one is continue, but we're going to add a build. Yeah, a build. I can't hit my keys. This is what happens when I look at the screen and I don't look at my hands at all when I'm typing. It's like they're shifted over a key and all. Fun. Hunky dory, what do you know? The one we're going back to here is the exact same drop. At least it pretends to be. So so it's the exact same as the drop from the first section here. So we like have 3 drops in this song, which is kind of interesting. But it is going to change up a bit, and I'll kind of point that out in a second here. Just realized something. This one actually does split up here. So this would be, duplicate this, make this. Whoa, that was not what I wanted. This one, duplicate it, put it here. We'll make this drop +1, drop +1, +1. Just kind of, you know, we could have put +2, but just remember it's the same as that one, but we're adding one more thing additionally. Yeah. There we go. I have no idea what key I just hit there to do that. Okay, I don't know. Okay, so right now I am hitting the quotation button, the apostrophe button / the quotation button, and I have no... Okay, there we go. So apparently that shrinks it down to there. How nice. So anyway, that's basically it. And then we'll do this here just to kind of set, because it stands out enough. And then, can I shorten it? Thank you. Remove kick, just so you remember that. Sweet. Okay, so now there are going to be a couple things we're going to write down here really quick before I end this episode off. But basically, I just kind of wanted to show you guys what to listen for when you're kind of learning the structure of a particular genre. This one, like I said, it's, or actually, did I mention it earlier? It's kind of like a mix between trance and house. I believe Cosmic Gate typically makes trance music, but at the same time, this one is very house styled, so it's kind of, you know, a mix between the two. So we have this general layout for our song that we're going to build here, but one of the things that I kind of want to note is how long the sections are. So we're just going to look here. Actually, I want to go to the break. Chill break, here we go. Okay, so what you can tell is right here is basically one section and then it repeats it again, although it does actually bring in a synth. You can start faintly hearing. Right there. So we know 65 to 69, that would be, what, 4 bars? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sweet. So we're gonna go down notes. Chord progression for break. 4 bars. Sweet. And then yeah, that's about right. So it's hold on, actually let me check. And then it just repeats. Sweet. Okay, so we have 4 bars for the chord progression. That's what we're gonna shoot for. This one, actually, the melody is a very repeating melody. It's kind of just a pattern, more so in the background than an actual melody. So we can't measure that one just because it kind of just goes along with the chord progression. But you know, when we're doing our track, that's going to be one of the things that we creatively decide how we're going to do it. And then we're going to look one final thing here before I cut this episode off, and that's we're going to look at the drop here and how long is each section of the drop, because it might actually be a different duration. Nope, it's 4 bars. Sweet. So you did the same thing for both. Oops, I wanted notes. Here we go. And drop pattern. We'll just go with is 4 bars. Sweet. So that's pretty much all we need from this track. And at this point, I could actually delete it from the project, but I think I'm going to keep it in there for now, just in case I want to reference things. The one thing that makes me a little bit hesitant about that is try to like to avoid copyrighted content in my videos, but at the same time, I think we're just gonna have to deal with it for some of the series. Actually, you know what we could do? This is one easy thing to tell. After 2 bars, we have some sort of fill, I think, because basically we have 2 bars here. You see, there's a fill right there. 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 La la la. And things continue, and we'll check to see if this follows through with the drop. Actually, it won't follow through with the build. Well, it might. Oh yeah, just because it's the same as the intro mostly. Okay, so if we go back to the drop, here we go. We have Okay, so what we're gonna do is say, I keep on clicking on that. Okay. So we're gonna make another line here. Every 2 bars, variance. Now what I mean by that is, I'm just gonna kind of keep that there. We'll just do this. Fill or fill blank, etc. So what we're going to do here, actually I should add one more thing, change. So what we could do is we could add a fill like that, the beep, 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 and or we could go through and we could do what you see in the drop where it does the 2 bars and then it just doesn't really have anything there. Then it does 2 bars and then it has a fill. Or we could do something later on where you kind of see more so in the at the end of one of these sections where it kind of does something slightly different. So it's something like that. So we could just change things up a bit and just kind of it's our little heads up so that we don't get boring and just play a loop forever. Because you know you could just make an intro that follows the exact pattern, but if you don't do something every 2 bars at the end of every 2 bars, kind of. I'll kind of just better solidify it in our minds here. If you don't do something at the end of every 2 bars, then you kind of just, it feels like it's looping and then you're adding something that's looping and then you're adding something. It doesn't feel like the song's progressing so much. So we're just going to kind of keep that in mind. And I think that's pretty much all we're going to do today. So we have this entire song basically mapped out, and if you want to know exactly what I did, just watch the video again. It's I kind of go through and I type everything as I'm going. I don't want to just like give you guys this one partially because I can't give you the song if I do, because that's illegal, and partially because I kind of want you guys to listen for yourself and listen to your own tracks and figure out how you could do the same style of thing and split it up by listening closely to what's going on. This is a very, very, very important skill for DJing as well as producing. For DJing, you kind of need to know this so that you can mix tracks. And for producing, you need to know this so that you kind of get the idea of what a genre entails. You'll kind of learn that different, despite the fact that songs have different plays on these, they tend to follow some sort of pattern. Like, for instance, we could go here, and the chord progression for the break might be 8 bars instead of 4. But you know, other than small changes, they kind of follow a similar structure, like intro, build, drop, downlifter, intro, and then kind of like a chill in between, and then you have you build up into the full break, and it just kind of goes on. So listen for those things and kind of pay attention to the structure here. I think what I could do here is I could actually go through and just like do literally the order, like intro, build, drop, downlift, break, light break, break, and then just kind of like make it a bit broader than these smaller sections I've broken up into, but I think this is good enough for what we're going to need here. So anyway, that wraps up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments, suggestions, or requests for video series, just throw them below, and I'll mark them down and get back to them, or get to them when I have time and when I've finished a little mini series here. But anyway, I do have vocals planned. I just need a vocalist. You might have noticed that I posted up a track where I said I wanted a vocalist, and that's going to be the one that I'm going to use those vocals for my vocals series when I do that. So if I get a vocalist, someone in that wants to be a vocalist for that track, the particular trance track that I have up, then whoop-de-doo, and I'll be able to do that series. If I don't find a vocalist, then chances are it's going to take me a while before I actually get to do that series, because I don't want to use pre-processed vocals, because it kind of kills the series, because you want to know, when you record someone's vocals, what are you going to do with them? So that's kind of, the situation there with the vocals. But anyway, I do have a new screen coming. So like I said, I actually know when it's going to be here now. It's going to be here very soon. Let's just put it this way. If all goes according to plan and the screen is not like dead on arrival, then this will be the last mastering EDM with Logic Pro that you will have these black bars on the side. So it'll finally be in 1080p, full HD, and you won't have to worry about all this, wonderful dead space on the sides. Hopefully, if all goes according to plan. Of course, things could randomly change and I won't know what'll hit me. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And like I said, if you enjoyed this video, like it, comment, anything like that. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.